Hi everyone, welcome to the Mikey Does NFL podcast for Friday 26th of November 2021. I'm your host Mikey. Thank you for joining to listen to an Englishman talk about American football for this Thanksgiving weekend. So I've been away for a few weeks, well I haven't been anywhere as such, just been proper busy, not really been able to put some time in to do podcasts, and since my last podcast it's just been crazy. Just so much has happened. It's ridiculous. So in terms of the format for this one, normally I do a recap of the previous week's games. I'm just going to try and do a recap of the craziness that's happened since the last one of these. Some random ramblings, again, as always. They're always pretty random. I'm not going to do a player profile this week. I'm just going to go straight into the Thanksgiving games from last night and my week 12 picks, so stay tuned. So the craziness that's happened over the last 3 or 4 weeks, ridiculous. I have no idea what's happening. So here's a brief recap of craziness. I'm going to miss some stuff out because there's just been so much. So I think that the last one I did of these, the Bengals and the Cowboys, they were on, they were destined to take over their conferences, but that's not been the case sort of since then. The next week, the following week, the Bengals lost to the Jets. Yeah, they lost to the a team lost to the Jets. Yeah, I can't believe it either. Still, Cowboys again. They've lost a few games as well. Now they've had some players out, including Dak for one of them. They actually won that game, but yeah, they've been kind of inconsistent since then. Really, in that time as well, we also witnessed the second coming of Jesus Christ in Mike F.in White for the Jets in their win over the Bengals. His first career start, 3 for over 400 yards. Yeah, he's top. I think his jersey and everything is in the Hall of Fame. Like, crazy. So yeah, he is he going to be the saviour of the Jets? A few weeks later, I think the answer to that is no. Kansas City were dead and buried. By some people. Some people ready to dance on their grave. They were bottom of the AFC West. They now look like they might be that team again. Mahomes is making a lot less mistakes. Cleaner play, the receivers all chipping in. Yeah, they're looking back to how the team that we knew they were. The sad news around the events around Henry Ruggs and his DUI. And subsequent release from the Raiders. Just, yeah, I mean, again, just terrible, just a terrible chain of events, really. Again, thoughts and prayers with the families, everyone involved. Derrick Henry proving that he's showing everyone that he's human. After all, he's not just a machine. So he injured his foot in the overtime win against the Colts in Indianapolis, but he came off during the game, and has sort of been out since that game. The Titans then signed Adrian Peterson to their practice squad, and then onto the full roster. He played a couple of games, but he's since been released. What more craziness? Aaron Rodgers. I don't really want to go over all that stuff again, with his vaccination status and what the drama that was around that, and I think he's entitled to do what he wants to do. Just people didn't like what he said or how he said it, I guess, because that made people think he was vaccinated. But anyway, yeah, I don't want to get into that. But shout out to Dr. Joe Rogan on that one. Cam Newton, he's back in Carolina, 1-on-1 since his return. He's already playing better than Donald, to be honest. I think his first game back, he ran a touchdown in and threw a touchdown, both of them down in the red zone. Didn't get much action in that first game. Played in the loss to Washington. yeah, he's just trying to embed himself back into the offense of his old team. They got Christian McCaffrey back as well, from IR, so that's good for Carolina. In terms of what other news is there? This isn't news. The Detroit Lions are still bad. After all this other stuff has happened, all these comings and goings, craziness, that you can just rely on the Lions to be bad. They still haven't won a game. They got the tie against Seattle. Not Seattle, sorry, the Steelers even. Mason Rudolph started the game for Pittsburgh. No big Ben for that game. It was a terrible game of football. The Lions had a field goal attempt in overtime to win it. They missed it, obviously. I don't think it could have been a kick from 5 yards out, 10 yards out. They were always going to miss. It doesn't matter. It's the Lions. I'm still thinking, I don't know, has that game actually finished yet? It started a couple of weeks ago. It might still be going on, but regardless, the Lions aren't going to win that game anyway. I suppose what it means is they won't have the honour of being the first team to go 0-17. So that's probably the only positive from this season so far. Maybe aside from the play of the tackle they drafted, left tackle they drafted from Oregon. I think I've spoken about pretty much every one of these I've done, but he's now been moved over to right tackle. But yeah, I mean, there's no more team deserving of an 0-17 record than the Lions. So yeah, maybe next year, Detroit. Maybe next year. What have I forgotten? Is that it? There must have been more than that. Reach out to me on Twitter if there's anything I've missed. At Mikey does NFL. OBJ got released by the Browns on his birthday. A card would have done. And he's signed with the Rams. But on the same day, they had Robert Woods go out for the season, which is a big blow, big part of the offense for the Rams there. But yeah, OBJ, hopefully he can, for the Rams, he can get up to speed with their playbook. But yeah, definitely Robert Woods being out for them is a very big loss. They still have Cooper Kupp, bearing in mind. The Rams do run a lot of 3 receiver sets, a lot of 11 personnel. But yeah, again, you'd want Robert Woods to be on the field, give your team a better chance of winning. So random ramblings. To be honest, I'm a bit exhausted after all that. Talk about the craziness that's happened before over the last few weeks. My fantasy team. This is terrible now. My fantasy team. We started 7-0. It was all good. We were doing well. Just crushing, and then it was all good. The NFL was predictable. We knew which teams were going to lose, who were going to win. It was okay. I'm now looking at an 0-5 run if I don't win this week. I don't know what's happened. Seriously, I just don't know what's happened. To the fantasy gods, I'm hoping you're listening. Just let me know. What do I need to do to get back into your good favour? I mean, what have I done differently? Was I not arrogant enough when I was winning? Is that what it was? Is that what it is? I was being too humble. Okay. Well, if you're listening at Fantasy Gods, just give me a sign. Just let me know what I need to do, and I'll do it. But yeah, I can't go 0-5. It's just So Jason Garrett's been relieved of his duties as the coordinator at New York at the Giants. I just thought he had very good sideline tickets based on how the Giants were playing offensively. Are they going to notice that he's gone? Probably not. I don't know. They might put some points on the board. Being honest, I'm still not convinced by Daniel Jones. I think I called him David James on one of my previous ones, but I don't know who I'd rather have a quarterback. David James, former Liverpool goalkeeper. Yeah, Saquon's been in and out for the Giants. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know what his kind of full health status is, but he needs to be given a bigger workload, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I'm just not convinced that Jones is that guy to help New York. Kadarius Toney's missed some time as well. He might be a better option at quarterback at the minute. I am joking about that, of course. If this was a video version of this podcast, though, I would be having my fingers crossed behind my back when I say that. What else? What other ramblings? Mason Crosby, he's struggling a bit. I think it's fair to say. He's missed quite a few kicks this season, normally quite reliable in the past. I don't know what's going on with the holder and snapper combo that they've got in Green Bay, but something's not right. Yeah, in terms of ramblings, that is, and the stuff that's happened in the last few weeks, it's quite tiring now, to be honest. So I'll go for something now that isn't as tiring, I'd say, because it was quite uneventful, the trade deadline that came and went. So no move for Deshaun Watson out of Houston. Miami seemed like the likely destination, but that didn't materialise. Only other thing I'd say from that trade deadline was Melvin Ingram going from the Steelers to Kansas City. I think KC had already expressed some kind of interest, but the Steelers at the time didn't want to deal with another AFC team, so that didn't happen. But yeah, come trade deadline day, he went through, so he's now a Chief. Got to say, the last few weeks KC have looked a bit better defensively. I think that's probably more down to, but Chris Jones, the player Chris Jones there. If he doesn't play NFL anymore, then or American football, he could probably start playing volleyball. The amount of times he's just getting up and batting balls down thrown by the quarterback. Just makes me think back to the Super Bowl that they won when they beat the 49ers. Yeah, he was doing that quite a few times, and probably had a good shout to be the actual MVP of that Super Bowl himself. But he plays defense, so unless your name's Von Miller, you don't get it. Shout out to Coney Ely as well for that one. Google his Super Bowl performance, and yeah, you'll see why you probably don't remember that performance. But yeah, so now I'm going to go into the Thanksgiving games from last night. So I hope everyone had a nice Thanksgiving. Being from over here in England, we don't really celebrate it. Well, we don't celebrate it. It's not our holiday, so I don't really know what it looks like. I'm assuming it's like Christmas, but without the tree and without the presents. Let me know. Have I got an invite to go around your house next year for it? That'd be nice. So the first game, Bears against Detroit. Man, that was a poor game. It was a poor game of football. The highlight probably was Darnell Mooney for the Bears. 123 yards, I think it was, off 5 catches. Andy Dalton started for the injured Justin Fields. Just a terrible game, really. The Lions' clock management at the end of the game was really bad. Going into that towards a 2-minute warning and following the 2-minute warning, they basically just burned all their timeouts to let the Bears run the clock down to get the field goal and win it, and the final score of 16-14. But yeah, just not a great game. There was a lot of talk about the Bears head coach Matt Nagy possibly being fired. They got a welcome win over the worst team in the NFL. So Detroit, I mean, the defense isn't terrible, but the offense just isn't putting points on the board. DeAndre Swift went out. He left the game with an injury quite early on. That's a bit of a blow for Detroit. Jamal Williams, he's a capable back as a backup, but yeah, they'll definitely miss DeAndre Swift. And Jared Goff just looks. It just looks like he's playing in that Super Bowl again against the Patriots, where he just seems confused and just can't get up to speed with the game at all, which is a shame. But yeah, so the Bears win and the Lions remain winless. The following game was the Cowboys against the Raiders. High scoring game, very entertaining game, but total opposite of the Bears Lions. Ended up 36-33 to the Raiders in overtime. Cowboys were missing Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. Zeke was playing, but he's not 100% healthy by the looks of things. Cowboys needed to bounce back after the performance against the Chiefs on Sunday. They didn't score a touchdown against the Chiefs. Just poor game offensively from them. The Raiders themselves, they needed to bounce back as well. They lost to the Bengals on Sunday. Darren Waller seems to be struggling a little bit. He's the focal point of the offense. I mean, if he wasn't before, when Ruggs was there, he definitely is now. But he seems to be having his struggles over the last few weeks. Deshaun Jackson signed for the Raiders. I suppose to boost the wide receiving corps. If you're playing fantasy, I think the player you wish you would have had is a player called Penalties, because they were just a load of penalties, over 200 odd yards in penalties given out. Just every play, just flag, just for everything. The refs, I think, did their best to spoil the game. But in the end, the real winner was football. So Dallas rallied late on to take the game to overtime, but Raiders won on their possession in overtime, kicked the field goal, got out of there with a win, ate the turkey. However, I'm still waiting for a penalty flag to be thrown following the kick. I mean, we are almost a day after the game, but yeah, I won't be surprised with those refs from last night. Then the last game was the Bills at the Saints. Just one side of the affair. Bills just were too strong for the Saints. The Saints were missing Kamara again. They were missing Mark Ingram at running back. Trevor Siemian was starting due to Jameis Winston being out. Bills needed the win as well. It was a bounce back game for them after being soundly thrashed at home to Jonathan Taylor and the Colts at home on Sunday. Bills dominated this one from start to finish. We're probably not going to see a more one-sided game this week. Bills won 31-6 in the end in New Orleans. Overall, yeah, happy with the games. I mean, although the Bears-Lions game was boring, it was close, I suppose, which kept it interesting, I suppose, at least. But yeah, on to the rest of week 12. The rest of the week 12 picks. I'll start with Colts. The Indianapolis Colts against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think this one's going to be a close game. I don't know which way to call it. I've sort of changed my mind every day this week when I thought about it. The formula for victory for the Colts has to be to feed Jonathan Taylor and get the run game going. They need to get JT 20 touches at least a game, I'd say, if they're gonna have a chance of winning games. Defense is playing well. The Bucs' run defense is very good, or has been very good over the last couple of years. Titan Rob Gronkowski returned last week. There's a red zone threat there. You've got the return of a long-time nemesis for the Colts in TB12. You've got a lot of old coaching staff that were on the Colts, including the head coach Bruce Arians. Um, how do I call this game? I'm going to call it Tampa Bay, but tomorrow I probably will call it for the Colts, and then Sunday I'll probably change my mind another 4 times. For now, I'm picking Tampa Bay. The Houston Texans against the New York Jets. So in England we have rhyming Cockney rhyming slang, and if someone was in a bit of a state, if they're not, not in a good way, we'd say that they're in a right 2-8. Both of these teams, so we've got two teams who are 2-8 teams, and yeah, they're both in a right state. The Texans got a shock win, I'd say, over the Titans on Sunday. Not the best performance from Tannehill for the Titans, but yeah, the Texans got the win. I don't think many people would have picked them to win that game, even without Derrick Henry for Tennessee and AJ Brown being hurt. The Jets just pretty bad, aren't they? Really, the rookie Elijah Moore, he's becoming an effective part of the offense over the last few weeks for the Jets. I think they might be without Michael Carter at running back. I see this as a Texans win. Next game be the Giants and the Eagles. We've got a NFC East divisional game. Again, Jason Garrett's gone, but still not sure on Daniel Jones. Eagles putting a bit of a run together, putting some wins together. Jalen Hurts plays improved. Miles Sanders is back for the Eagles. A divisional game. Eagles win for me in this one. Miami against Carolina. So the Dolphins sort of shocked everyone on Thursday Night Football a couple of weeks ago with their meme-generating win against Baltimore. Panthers lost a close one to Washington on the weekend. I see the Panthers sort of responding well, getting a win. I think Cam gets himself more in tune with the offense, with his old stroke new offense. Carolina win. The New England Patriots against the Tennessee Titans. The Pats slowly crept up to the top of the AFC East on Sunday, kind of under the radar. They're mainly based on the running game and the lights out defense that's been displayed in New England. So Mac Jones has been solid at quarterback. Nothing flashy at all, I'd say. But yeah, getting the wins. Titans and Tannehill especially looked sloppy in their loss to the Texans on Sunday. They lost AJ Brown, still no Derrick Henry. Patriots win this one for me. The Bengals against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I think this will be a close one. Steelers are a bit banged up on defense. Had a loss to the Chargers on Monday Night Football. A lot of points scored in that game. Bengals got back to winning ways against the Raiders. If Cincinnati can get a good mix of running with Mixon and passing, incorporating the tight ends along with Jamar Chase as well, I think Cincinnati will edge this one. Cincinnati win. The Atlanta Falcons against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't even want to pick this game, let alone watch it. Jags. I'll pick the Jags just because they're at home. That's it. Denver against the Chargers. I just think the Chargers would be too strong for the Broncos. Herbert's played well last couple of games. Had a bit of a struggle sort of prior to that. Denver, I think they just probably need to plan for next year. I don't see them getting out of the division into the playoffs. Getting above the other teams in that division. Chargers for me. The Packers against the Los Angeles Rams. I probably would have said this would have been the game of the week. The Rams, they were kind of soundly beaten by the 49ers before the bye week. 49ers ran the ball well and controlled the clock, especially in the first half. Bit of an off game for Stafford. A couple of interceptions. One of them, I think, might have been forcing it to OBJ. I don't really know what he saw there. The other one probably wasn't his fault. A couple of drops on third down by Cup, and I think it might have been the tight end Higby in the third quarter in that game, which didn't help either. But yeah, hopefully the Rams have had a good bye week, give them a chance to regroup, get OBJ more involved on the offense for them. The Packers lost a very entertaining game against the Vikings. Good back and forth battle, very good watching for the neutral. Rodgers has a bad toe, as he showed everybody. Rams off the bye. I think this might be another high-scoring game. Hopefully looking forward to the Devontae Adams versus Jalen Ramsey battle that we saw in the playoffs. I think the Rams edge this one for me. I don't think there's going to be a lot in it, but yeah, Rams take it. The Vikings against the 49ers. This one can go either way, as any game can, but I think this one especially. I think the Vikings and the 49ers, I think they'll probably need to lean heavily on the run game. I think Justin Jefferson's in great form for the Vikings. Vikings still have Thielen as well, who, I don't know if he's a forgotten man there at all. He's still producing, getting into the end zone. But yeah, they've got a superstar in Justin Jefferson there. I think the Vikings win this by one score. Baltimore Ravens against Cleveland. The Ravens need Lamar back. Got a late win against the Bears. It's a bit of a poor performance offensively. That game wasn't the best game as well, I've got to say. Baker Mayfield, he might be back for the Browns. I don't know if Kareem Hunt's coming back off IR in time for this game. Jarvis Landry was back. Ravens for me in this one. Ravens will win, providing Lamar plays. So that takes us to Monday Night Football. The Washington football team against the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle just do not look like Seattle, and Russ does not look like Russ. They've just been poor since he's been back. Shout out against the Packers. Kind of a poor performance, I'd say, against Arizona on Sunday. I don't think they ever really looked like they were. When watching that game, I didn't ever think Seattle can win this game, which just isn't like Seattle teams of the recent past, I'd say. Washington, they'll be without Chase Young again. I think he's done for the season, I believe. But I see the football team winning. Heavy dose of Scary Terry McLaurin, and hopefully Antonio Gibson. More so for the fact that I've got him in fantasy. So I think Washington win this one. I don't think it's going to be a classic. So that will take us to week 13. Unlucky for some. So that was a Mikey Does NFL podcast. Have a great Thanksgiving weekend, everyone. Hope you enjoy the games, and I'll speak to you next time. Take care.